You're listening to Northwood Church Matters, a podcast of Northwood Church in Evansville, Indiana, where we discuss why the local church matters and things that matter to the local church. I'm your host, Matt Higgins. Welcome back to the Northwood Church Matters podcast. I have the fullest room that I've ever had right now. So I'm going to get everybody to introduce themselves, and I figured this would be a fun way to do this. I'm going to get you to say your name, and then how do you pronounce the word O-I-L? All right. I'm Matt. I'm our worship pastor, and it's pronounced oil.
I'm Lexi, and it's oil.
Yeah, I'm Rachel. I'm also team oil. 2 syllables.
Oil.
I'm Zach, and the correct way to pronounce it is all.
Wrong.
Wrong.
I'm Bobby Pell. I'm the lead pastor here, and it's oil. Why are y'all laughing? It's oil.
Oh.
I'm Ryan. I'm the missions pastor, and it is technically oil.
2 syllables.
How do you say it, though?
It doesn't matter. The right answer is the right answer.
Of course it matters.
How I say it.
I have a feeling that that's a highfalutin answer from you.
He's been edumacated.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm Darin Garten. I'm the executive pastor, and I say oil.
2 syllables.
2 syllables.
There's 2 of
2
us.
syllables.
I'm sitting next to him.
Yeah. So the first question is actually for Darin. First of all, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. And we're doing a Christmas podcast. And so this is a Christmas related question. So with a birthday so close to Christmas, did you get 2 sets of presents growing up, or was the combined thing?
That's a good question. I did sometimes. I got 2 sets of presents. Sometimes the things I wanted were big enough that they would be for both.
Okay.
So I've gotten it both ways, but most of the time I like to have them separated. So
Yeah. Were you disappointed those times that you just got one giant gift?
depending on how big it was, I like big gifts. So.
All right. So one introductory question that I understand was being debated at lunch yesterday. Is A Christmas Story a great movie or not a great movie?
It's terrible.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Best movie.
It's
Really?
terrible.
It's my favorite.
A Christmas Story?
Yep.
Says
Love
the
it.
girl who wears Grinch. Come on now.
Yeah, but I also dressed very nicely for the podcast, the Christmas podcast that no one is seeing. I understand.
She's got a flamingo sweater on.
but it's beautiful. So
We'll take a picture. We'll put it in the
A Christmas
in the
Story is a
details.
terrible movie.
I agree with Rachel. I think it's very overrated.
I do not like the Christmas Story movie
At
at
least
all.
we can agree on this part. Oil may not.
I like it. I grew up watching it on TBS 24 hours.
yes.
But we tried to watch it with our kids last night and made it about 15 minutes.
That just tells you how bad it is.
And we realized this has some language in it.
Yeah.
Yes,
This
it
is a
does.
spicy movie.
Yeah.
I'm team Christmas Story. Big
Yes.
time. My favorite Christmas movie, probably.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
The leg lamp and all?
Oh,
Yes.
of course.
I love A Christmas Story, but I don't tend to watch it because my habit is I love to watch new things that I haven't seen before. I don't really like to watch reruns,
Yeah.
especially something for the 20th time.
It's super quotable. Like we say fragile whenever we open packages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so now for the planned questions. So what is the weirdest gift that you've ever given or received, Lexi?
Blake and I both gave a toy poop roll last year to our brother-in-law. So, as a welcome to the family.
This
Okay.
has gone places I didn't expect. Really.
You're welcome.
Lexi used to work here.
After the Christmas podcast, she's gone.
This was meant to be a very fun episode,
Yes.
and now
Yeah.
we have gotten rid of one employee
Yeah.
with one answer.
First question.
There you have it.
Yeah.
The weirdest gift I've ever been given actually took place at a White Elephant Christmas exchange. It was also the most fought after gift. And it was What's Your Poo Telling You? It was a book with 25
There you go.
different types.
There's a theme.
Every year, my mother-in-law buys me underwear.
That's as close as bad as
That's the worst I could come up with. So some people would think that's weird. I appreciate it.
I told Matt this earlier. I cannot think of a weird gift I've given. I've received in Ecuador some strange gifts. I mean, I've received some strange necklaces. Some of those are hanging in my office. So that's as close as I can get.
Probably the strangest gift I've given is it was at a white elephant thing, and it was a double cheeseburger from McDonald's.
Oh,
And the
that's
person
smart.
ate it. Donnie Queen ate it immediately down in Mississippi. Hey, Donnie, if you're listening to this, he enjoyed it. It was a good gift.
so before the game was over, he ate the sandwich?
He did. He wanted to make sure nobody else got it.
That sounds like something Zach would do.
That is solid.
I got an album. This tells you how old this is, but whenever I was young, I got a Janice Ian album from my sister. She wrote a song called At 17
Yes.
about teenage girl angst. And the reason that was weird was I didn't know who Janice Ian was. I didn't ask for the album, and I wasn't a teenage girl at the time. And so
Nor are you.
Or
very
ever.
confused of why I got this. And it was because my sister wanted the album.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a similar story that first of all, we watched the very first episode of Saturday Night Live the other night, and the guest is Janice Ian, and she's playing At 17.
Yeah,
so I just watched that.
Very depressing song.
Very depressing song. But I got a similar gift that my brother wanted an album by Bon Jovi, and he gave it to me on cassette. And so then I immediately gave it to him. So I was not into Living on a Prayer. All right, Lexi, have you ever had a Christmas disaster?
So I don't really remember this because I was an infant, but my very first Christmas, sorry, Mom, I'm telling on you, I pulled the Christmas tree over on top of me. So I'd consider that a disaster.
Sure. Yeah. That would be very scary for a mom.
Yeah. Yeah. She was not in the room, and I crawled over and pulled the whole tree on top of me. So a live Christmas tree, not a fake one.
Oh, wow.
No, live Christmas tree.
I mean, for me, it was the lights going out right before Christmas. I had a Christmas tree set up in the apartment, and the lights just went kerplunk. No more Christmas lights. Or maybe half the tree, I can't remember, but lights went out.
Mm-hmm.
That's as dangerous as
Nothing
I got.
dangerous.
Yeah, nothing
No.
crazy.
Mm-mm.
So 10 years ago this Christmas Eve, I asked Courtney to marry me. Guys, it's smart to give them the ring on Christmas Eve or Christmas so you don't have to buy presents. The ring is the present. So just
Pro
a tip. Just a tip.
Or if your birthday's near Christmas, it could be both.
Exactly. All three. So, but you know, the box, I put a note at the top, said, "Will you marry me?" Put it in the stocking. She opens it. Of course, her parents know it's coming. They're taking pictures and video and all this stuff. And I guess she didn't read the note. She opens, looks at the ring and says, "Oh, it's nice." And that's it. So I'm sitting there wondering, well, what do I do now? So anyway, she said yes. So that was almost a disaster. So I bring it up every year.
So Christmas Eve of 2017 was really the beginning of my neurological problems. So that night I started shaking, couldn't stop shaking, had to go to the emergency room. I was actually preparing for a Christmas Eve service because we as pastors never stop preparing. But yeah, so that was the worst Christmas Eve ever, getting a shot of Ativan in the emergency room.
No crazy disasters. I remember Jessica and I were up one Christmas Eve putting some presents together, and one in particular present together for the kids. And it took an hour to put the thing together, and we get towards the end of it and realize it's actually broken. And we had to make a choice of, do we still give it to them or do we pack it back up? So we ended up packing it back up and sending it back off. But that was kind
Such
of
a bummer.
aggravating.
I will say, for my wife who's listening, the story I just said, I was only 20 years off.
So
It was 1997.
I was
It was
gonna
not
say.
2017. Because my wife at home right now is going, is my husband crazy?
Did you say you have neurological issues?
I just want to go ahead and say, internally, I am channeling my wife right now, and I was only off by 20 years. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't really have a disaster. I think I've told the story in a previous podcast about the lady that caught on fire at the Christmas candlelight service.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
I don't remember this. You got to tell it again.
It was just at my sister's church. A lady had an Angora sweater on, and everybody's passing the fire. All of a sudden, we hear behind us, "Mama Kayla's on fire!" They start patting her out. They put her out very quickly, but it was always great. We still say that at candlelight services. "Mama Kayla's on fire."
Now the whole congregation on Christmas Eve service is going to say that. I have two. I remember when I was a teenager that our grandmother was over at our house for Christmas and present opening, and we hadn't gotten to anything yet. And she got a call from her apartment complex that her pipes had frozen and her apartment had flooded. And so as a teenage child, I was selfishly more upset that it happened before dinner and before opening presents. And so everything was really delayed, but that was a legit disaster. There was another year where I was really sick, and this is as an adult. And I found out that year I have an allergy to a certain cough medication, and it actually makes me hallucinate. And so that was not a great Christmas, because I just remember being in bed and hallucinating, not about wonderful things, hallucinating about very demonic things. And so that was a disaster for me.
Well,
yeah.
No.
Yes. So that's listed in my allergies on my chart. Lexi, have you ever pulled a Christmas prank on someone?
No, I have not.
Not that you'll admit.
Oh, no. I really don't think I have at all.
Mm-hmm.
Strangely enough.
For us, it's not really a Christmas prank, but like a couple of years ago, it was on Thanksgiving, but we were prepping for Christmas season. My family loves Christmas vacation. That's our big thing. And so my mom and I like worked together to get everybody Christmas vacation shirts. And so my mom had hers and she had wrapped everybody's up. And my mom had on a shirt for Thanksgiving. And then midway through the night, she went and changed into like the It's a Butte Clark shirt. And my sister, who's like very obsessed with the show, like the movie and everything, was sitting on the couch. My mom comes in this changed shirt, and my sister is looking at her like, "Where did you get that? That's new. Did you have that on this whole time?" And it starts asking her immediately like a million questions. And my mom was like, "Well, why do you care?" And she's like, "Where did you get that? I want one." And my mom is just like, "Well, I just got it for me," like this kind of thing. And then my mom went and grabbed these Christmas presents under the tree and handed them to everybody. And then my sister got her own and was very excited about it. So it wasn't like a Christmas prank, but like it was like we pulled one over on her. And so that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I am sure that I have at some point, but I'm having a hard time recalling any pranks that I pulled. So pass.
I'm not a prankster. So, no, not really.
Okay.
Like Zach, I'm pretty sure I have, just knowing how I am with my kids and mine and my brother's relationship. But I can't remember a prank in particular.
Yeah, I'm same. Only thing I remember, we had a friend call our kids as Santa's elf, giving play-by-play of where he was going and so forth. Mm-hmm. And they thought it was Santa's elf giving them when they're going to be there, so they got to get in bed, that kind of thing. So, but not really a prank.
My aunt and uncle used to prank my brother about different gifts, and it always turned out well. But I remember one year in particular that they gave him a just tremendously heavy gift. And that's what he wanted to open up first, because it was just ridiculously heavy. And he opened it up. It was a bag of bird seed. And then we do one of those things at our family where you open one present, then you go to the next person. So he had to sit there and wait. And it got to the end of his presents, and he's still wondering, why do I have a bag of bird seed? And the last present he opened was a birdhouse. And so he just opened it in wrong order. But I still remember the look of disaster on his face. What am I going to do with this bag of bird seed? When you were growing up, did your family get pictures with Mall Santa? And do you have a memorable experience with Mall Santa?
So I'm sure I did, but I don't remember. What I remember most is the JCPenney studio photos.
Oh.
So we had studio photos taken. I don't know if it's because I've seen the picture, but I remember popping out of a chimney. So I'm not really sure.
Proof for it didn't happen.
Yeah, Lexi's mom, if you're listening, please.
No.
Please share.
It's not.
And now we're talking full-on glamour shots?
Oh, like we had the matching outfits and like, I know there's one where I'm pretty for sure one of my parents had a mullet. Like we're talking like real deal JCPenney studio shots every Christmas.
Awesome. The real JCPenney ones, you need like the picture-in-picture thing.
Yes, absolutely. We have that.
Yeah, we definitely went to see Santa every year growing up. And so I loved it. I mean, I just remember the line being really long. And then now I think they've gone to like digital appointments or whatever, where you like set up your appointment. I don't know if that's real or not, but there's no more like waiting in line or anything like that, I don't think. But I remember when I was in high school, though, there was this thing called Jingle Bones, and it still happens, but it used to happen at Washington Square Mall. And so I think I was like a sophomore or junior in high school, and our group of friends all gathered together to go to Jingle Bones together, which is really just a bunch of trombones playing Christmas music. And after they were done playing, all of our friends went and got pictures taken with Santa. And so that was just fun because they were all dressed in black for their Christmas stuff. And then we all just sort of crammed into a picture. So it was just something different and fun.
Cool.
We did Santa in my house, but I don't remember seeing Santa in the mall or any of that stuff. So, pass.
Did your parents love you?
They did.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay.
They did.
Yeah, so I did. I don't remember any special Santa experience. I just know it was an annual thing. I'll tell myself to this degree. So my favorite superhero growing up was Spider-Man. And Spider-Man came to the mall. And I have a picture of, or there is a picture, I'm not sure if I have it. I hope I don't. But there is a picture of me with Spider-Man. And you can tell I'm probably 10, 11 years old. I mean, I'm not like a little tot. But I have this look on my face of I am scared to death of sitting on the lap of Spider-Man because I don't know what is about to happen to me.
He's going to web you.
He's going to web me in.
Fight crime.
I have all kinds of, you can tell, these thoughts going through my mind. So I don't have any crazy Santa moments, but I did have a crazy Spider-Man moment.
Well, you may be the only person on staff that's got a picture with Spider-Man.
Maybe so, but I can tell you I definitely had the Spider-Man experience.
Yeah, if any of Bobby's sisters are listening, we need.
I'm very grateful to say that neither of my sisters know this podcast exists for me.
Smart. I don't have memories of it, but there is evidence of my parents taking us to go to see Mall Santa, and there's pictures of two, because I'm a twin, of both of us screaming because we're terrified of him. We've done that not every year, but a couple of times with our kids. And so we've done it before.
We didn't go see Santa, but we had Santa come. The stockings, we believed, were filled by Santa. And then we had presents, bigger presents under the tree that would show up Christmas Eve that were from Santa. And so that was always fun because you know what's under the tree, but then some stuff that shows up that isn't wrapped easily or, you know, that has a bow on it or something, bike or whatever that way. So Santa did come Christmas Eve, and that's when we did it.
We definitely did Mall Santa all the time. In Richmond, Virginia, there was a department store downtown called Miller and Rhodes back in the day where there used to be independent department stores. And they had this marketing thing where they had, quote unquote, the real Santa, which I think was genius marketing. But it was a guy with the real beard and, you know, he had the physique and everything else and a really cool outfit. But he was at Miller and Rhodes from 1966 and then moved over to the Children's Museum when Miller and Rhodes closed. But that's still a thing today where they still do the real Santa in Richmond, Virginia. But my favorite memory of anything is, this isn't a Christmas memory, is we took Gwen to see the Easter Bunny one year. And right after she had a picture taken with the Easter Bunny, she had the Easter Bunny pegged. She came up to me and she's just in the tone like she's been defrauded. You know, that's just a person in a suit. And this is her at 4 or 5 years old. And so I'm like, very astute.
Yes.
Yeah. But she said Santa's real. So maybe it was the presents or something. But Lexi, if you could have a superpower for only Christmas Day, what would that superpower be?
This is tough because I thought, what about X-ray vision to see in the gifts? But that's pretty incredible, first of all. Then I got emotional with it. So I was like, what if you could bring a loved one home wherever they are, heaven or across the world?
Come on, choose. Let's go.
Well, I think I want to have that. I think that's what I want. I want to be able to bring a loved one home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Very thoughtful.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it, but like I would want to be able to see the joy across the world on Christmas. Just see everybody be so excited and all of the things. I would want to see the joy.
I would choose to be in more than one place at once.
Oh.
So, yeah.
That makes sense.
I like that.
Yeah.
I said something similar. I said, I don't want to go and be at more than one place at once. But I would like to look into a whole lot of places at the same time. I like to be able to see your family's opening up presents. That would be fun for me. I'd like to see your families watching Hallmark. I'd like to, which I'm sure Darin's would definitely be doing.
These are very thoughtful answers, and mine is not a thoughtful. I just want to fly.
Just on Christmas Day?
I mean, I just want to fly. That'd be so cool.
It doesn't even have to be on Christmas.
Yeah,
just
okay, yeah.
anytime.
Christmas, whatever. Family. Yeah. I'll see y'all later.
You only get one day a year.
Let's be clear.
One day.
Ryan on Christmas Day is leaving his family.
That's right.
To fly.
He gone.
I'll be back.
Up and away.
So my answer is really cheesy, but I hate that time goes so fast. I would want the ability to freeze time and to sort of make those moments last longer. I know that's a cheesy answer, but
everyone was
I hate for it to end. I hate for Christmas time to end and go back to just normal stuff. So freeze time.
I think the worst part about Christmas Day is cleaning up after when people open presents. And so if I could just miraculously make all that stuff disappear without any work, that'd be number one.
That'd be ideal.
Did you ever see the movie Smart House?
Yeah.
Like
No.
the Disney Channel movie?
No.
Of course.
Oh, so good. Zach, do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. Well, then Lexi and I are the only ones probably. But they have this feature where if there was trash, it melted into the floor and it got suctioned. So that's what I immediately thought of.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Smart House is a great movie. You should go watch it.
If one of our children could invent that, that'd be great. If you could change one thing about your Christmas celebration, what would that thing be, Lexi?
Well, I went sentimental on this again, so it kind of goes with my superpower, and it would be having my grandma there again. So she made Christmas for me as a kid. I would wake up in the morning and have just the time with my parents, but I immediately needed her to be there right after I opened them all because I had to have a full show and tell. Let's remember, I am an only child, so Christmas really, this is very selfish, but it did revolve around me because I was the only one at my age in that time, and so she really made it super special. So if I could have her come back for me to do show and tell of my Christmas presents, that would be great. And Bobby's laughing at me.
Well, I'll get the pressure off of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I said to just extend it to make it last longer. It already, even now at Christmas is what? A few 8 days away, something crazy like that. And I'm I just wish it could last a little bit longer. Even kind of like what Darin was saying, to make time stand still. It goes by so quick. Yep. So, and I do think people are more joyful around Christmas. I know that there are some Scrooges out there, but I really do think people actually have more of a spirit of generosity. And what would happen if you just extended that all year?
My answer was similar to Lexi's. If I could bring, I think, several loved ones that have gone on to be with the Lord. So, yeah, that's what I would pick.
Yeah, so I thought similar about this. I've often thought if you could take the best of Christmas down to the eras. So, the best of Christmas with our kids and go back to that time. Best of Christmas when I was growing up. The best of Christmas when Amy was growing up. If you could take all of those moments and bring them back together as a moment, I think that would be a lot of fun. And the other piece is what you are bringing up. It's because a lot of us in this room, not all, but a lot of us, we are separated from family. And so being able to have family all together that we're distant from would be my wish.
Yeah, similar. My dad made Christmas so much fun. Every holiday he liked decorating for, making special food and stuff for it. And so some of my best memories about Christmas are Dad and him. When we'd come down the hall, he'd have the video camera set up, recording us. In our house, we typically only turn on lamps. We don't turn on the big lights in the house because I just prefer lamps and big lights. But Dad would always turn on the big light. So on Christmas in our house, we always turn on the big light when the kids are coming down the hall and stuff. So being able to celebrate with him again.
I think for us, like Bobby said, some of us are separated from family and so forth. And there are a lot of deadlines at Christmas. All of us have things to do, Christmas Eve service and so forth. So it feels like a lot of times you're catching moments, but you got to do it because you got to be done to be able to go to the next thing. I think if I could change it just to have it like an uninterrupted time to just not have those deadlines, I think that's what sort of puts some pressure on trying to make those moments matter before you have to go to the next thing. So uninterrupted time, I think is what I would change.
Yeah. I would love to add a day between Christmas Eve and Christmas, which would make the previous day not Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
But for us that work on Christmas Eve, that would be a great travel day to go ahead and
That's right.
and get there for Christmas. Yeah. Or teleportation. That'd be wonderful. So some quicker questions here. Christmas caroling, weird or fun?
So we've debated this, and I think it's weird. You show up at these random places, people's houses, and you start singing to them. No, I'm not about it.
I love it. Just a quick story. We had Mark Silent, for those of you who know him. We lived across the street from Crossroads Church. And so they brought a big old bus full of kids one time, like students and stuff, to come sing. And it just so happened to be my mom's birthday celebration because her birthday is December 19th. And so we were all getting together, and this whole truckload of our busload of kids, school bus, shows up at my house. And they start singing Christmas carols, and we open the door and we invite all of these students in and eat cake and eat leftover food, everything. And then they quickly got back on the bus and caroled the rest of the neighborhood. And so I love it. I love Christmas caroling. I'm totally team carol. Let's do it, Matt. Bring it back.
Wait for my answer.
I know Bobby's answer. I'm going to be in the weird camp too. And just to say, I've never done it. So
What?
there's that. I've never been Christmas caroling. As someone that's never been and just observing, seems weird to me.
How do you know my answer?
I just do.
Oh,
I just do.
yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love it. And yes, absolutely love it.
It's a Hallmark Channel kind of thing.
Oh, it is.
So GD Ritzy's, when I was a kid, actually passed out Christmas caroling books for
Really?
free.
Did GD Ritzy?
I just want to say, so Lexi, you lost your job earlier. Darin just lost his as well. Everybody's down. I'm like, I'm being attacked right now. This is awful.
Bobby will be alone at the next
I
service.
feel awful right now.
Hey, I'm team Christmas carols.
You haven't
So
lost your job yet. Just wait.
I like it. But I've never done it where you're going to random people's houses,
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I've always done it where we would go to shut-ins houses, people within our church, and go and sing carols and for them in their living room or at their front door, and it was always received really well.
So fun.
That's different.
It's not fun for me. I think it's weird. What bothers me about it is I'm thinking of how much heat is escaping from the house.
You know who you sound
And
like?
heat the whole neighborhood? We got to heat the whole neighborhood.
You sound like the dad off Christmas Story.
Yes, he does.
You could go outside and shut the door and listen.
Go outside.
Watch the show.
But I'm also part of the generation where you don't open your door for people.
Yeah, but if you hear people singing songs,
I'm not coming outside.
They can still mug you if they're singing songs.
Oh my gosh. Y'all, Christmas season is about hope and generosity
I'm not coming
and
outside.
love.
What's yours,
and-
Matt?
So I think it's fine as long as the people know you're showing up. I just hate the random stuff where it's a fine line between Christmas caroling and a hostage situation. There's just, you care for some people and you could just tell, you are just interrupting their day.
One of the funnest experiences that I had, and this goes probably back Well, and I'm really good with dates, as y'all figured that already. But early 2000s, the little neighborhood right next door, we walked up and down the streets just singing. So not going to any doors, just singing. But there were enough of us that it was loud enough. Because we were singing these Christmas carols, people would come to their door and motion us over. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because all we're doing is walking down the streets late at night singing. And I say late at night, it was 7, 8 o'clock. It was dark. That was fun because technically you're not singing for anyone. You're just walking down the street.
Did they pull their doors too behind them?
I didn't see anybody with a shotgun. I didn't see any of that. But anyhow, all right, I'll leave it alone.
Yeah.
Move on.
No hostage situations, please. Yeah. All right. 12 Days of Christmas, great song or dumb song?
Lexi's silence is the answer.
It's a dumb song. I can't do it. I can't listen to it. I just can't do it.
I don't know about the song, but the movie Candy Cane Lane is great. With Eddie Murphy.
No, I've never seen that.
It's on Netflix. 10 out of 10 recommend.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
I have to watch it. I love Eddie. I'll say it's a good song. It's a classic.
I hate it.
Too repetitive? What's the deal?
No bueno.
I don't mind it. I like it okay. It's better than Mariah Carey at Christmas in my mind.
Oh, boy.
I actually agree with that.
I don't think it's a great song, but certain versions of it. There's a John Denver one with the Muppets. That's my favorite version because Miss Piggy does the 5 gold rings, and as she gets farther along, it gets more animated and bump for Callingbird. So the Muppets version is good.
I've never listened to a Muppets version.
Yeah. I don't like it, but I would prefer it over either Christmas Shoes or the Amy Grant Christmas song. The Tennessee Christmas song is an awful song. Those are like the 3 worst Christmas songs in creation. Going out to eat on Christmas Day, great idea or tacky idea?
Okay, so I say it's tacky, but my reason is because I don't want the workers to have to be there. So I think it's tacky.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know because if you have that tradition, then that's just what you do, you know?
Mhm.
So I'm with Lexi. I don't want people to have to work, but I also do appreciate my Starbucks drink on Christmas. So
As someone who has served many, many tables, it's tacky.
I don't want to eat out on Christmas Day. I don't think it's a great idea.
Yeah, we've never done it. We've always just stayed home on Christmas Day. However, I recognize there are people that don't have families, and that is kind of what they do for Christmas, and I'm glad that they have those options available for them.
Now, for me, this goes back to A Christmas Story. When the Bumpuses eat the turkey, they go to the Chinese restaurant and they serve a duck with the head on it and they cut it off on the table. So if you go to a Chinese, for me, we've done that where we've gone to a Chinese restaurant on Christmas.
Did you order Peking duck?
And did not order Peking duck. He says it's smiling.
It's smiling with me.
They cut it off. We usually have matching pajamas and stuff. One of the girls orders everybody pajamas and stuff, and we did that one time with matching pajamas. And
That's fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, we love it. My wife, not so much, but my side of the family, it's tradition. Just do Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Although lately, my parents have been going to Golden Corral, and they're kind of 50-50 on that. Has Christmas been overly commercialized?
I feel like I'm negative Nancy here, but yes, I think it has been.
yeah, I agree. Definitely commercialized.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I don't think this is a hard question.
Yes.
Yeah, we say this every year. We try not to make it about the presents, but make it more about experiences. And so every year we try to do that. We don't succeed always, but I think it can be over commercialized for sure. It's like anything. I mean,
I'm sure Valentine's Day candy is already out.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So tagging onto that question, how do you keep your family focused on the gospel during Christmas time?
We always read scripture. We read about Jesus's birth on Christmas Eve. Like, that's kind of what we do. And the last couple of years, it's just been me and Blake on Christmas Eve. And so that's what we've tried to do is just pick some scripture and read it and pray for new beginnings and new year, just as we had new life. So
Yeah, I mean, for us growing up, we always found like a candlelight service to go to. And so for a long time, that was going to my aunt and uncle's church. They had a candlelight service with the hymn carols that were in the hymnal. And so that's sort of become like our family tradition for Christmas Eve. That's been like a huge part of it. And then I think just as a kid, I distinctly remember our parents just making it clear to us that it's not about what Santa brings you or anything like that. It's about Jesus being the best gift ever, and that kind of always being the focus.
Yeah.
The church Courtney and I were part of in Kentucky, their children's ministry, they have done a thing for years called Abel in the Stable. And it's sort of like a, what's the, Elf on the Shelf. So, but it's sort of like an Advent thing. You had the donkey, you put him back in his stable, and sort of it's got like a story every day. So our kids have really enjoyed that. So,
as a parent with Garrett and Ryan, we did a birthday party for Jesus on Christmas Eve where we had a cake and celebrated his birth that way. And that was a way for us to put an emphasis with them on what the meaning of Christmas was about. I did not grow up in a church that ever did a Christmas Eve service. The first Christmas Eve service I ever went to was when I started dating Amy. And so that was a whole new tradition for me. And of course, here at Northwoods, it's become commonplace and become a big deal as well. And I would say that has helped me personally put an emphasis that Christmas is not about the present, but it is about the gift of Jesus. And so I think that's one of the things I would just say to people as they're listening. If you're looking for a way, an easy way would be if you have the ability to fit in a Christmas service, even if it's not ours, just fit a Christmas Eve service in. That would be a wise move.
We really enjoy for Christmas Eve coming here for the Christmas Eve service. It is a special time. Throughout the month of December, though, we try to take steps to slow down a little bit and not be so busy and planning meetings in the evenings and being out of the house. We try to have more meals at home. And so at home, we'll turn off the lights and we'll have meals over candlelight, and we'll do an Advent reading every night. I'm a little behind right now, so I got some catching up to do, but we try as much as we can as our schedule allows to do Advent readings throughout December and just do all that.
Yeah, I think we read the Christmas story and some things like that, but I think having older children now, one of the strategic times, I think, because you're almost always eating, is prayer. And when you gather people together, especially for those main meals and so forth, like that prayer time can be a time where you just say a blessing. But it can be a time where I think you communicate your love for one another, you communicate God's love for us, you communicate the Christmas story. So that the prayer time is a strategic time and not just a, let's just quick say the blessing kind of thing. So I think that can be a way to sort of interject the gospel into situations. Sometimes in situations you don't have control over, but you could ask a blessing and then mention God's love for us during that time.
I think church attendance is not a small deal. It's a big deal. My parents were always of the mindset, like, it was never a question whether we were going to church on Sunday or whether we were going to go to a Christmas Eve service or a special service. Like, we were going to go. And so I think the importance of that to instill in your family, especially at Christmas time, is really important, especially coming into the final barrel roll into Christmas Day. I think it's hugely important to just pause for a moment and just remember, okay, this is why we do the things that we do. All right. So what did God teach you in 2024?
So every year I pick a word to focus on, and 2024 was gratitude. And I thought it was going to be a fun word. The Lord taught me that it doesn't always have to be a fun word. So I'm just really grateful for the time I have with family and friends and with the Lord, really. I'm grateful for prayer, beyond grateful for prayer and that connection to Jesus, and just how I've grown with that this year and in prayer. So yeah, gratitude. He's taught me gratitude this year.
Cool. We're singing that song on Sunday.
I know. I'm excited.
Yeah.
For me, it's been based off of Colossians 1:16 and 17, just being reminded of just how much God is in control of the universe, because remembering him being in control of that makes all of the little details of like my regular daily life just that much more freeing, because I'm totally not in control, but God is in control, and resting in his sovereignty has brought so much peace into my own heart. So it's been good.
This year, the Lord has cornered me every morning in His Word on faith and what is faith and particularly what does that look like in my life. And in our family, typically Courtney is more the worrier and she would say, too laid back. And anytime we've gone through a transition, we've sort of flip-flopped. So when we came here, had a lot of things I was worrying about. And then with our transition back to the mission field, I'm the worrier and she's not all of a sudden. And so just really the Lord sort of hammered me on, do you not trust me on this? But also just practically, I think at least recorded in Scripture, there's only one thing that the disciples asked Jesus to teach them how to do. And they say, Lord, teach us how to pray. And so I've just have realized afresh that if you have faith, you're going to pray. If you're not praying consistently, that's evidence that you lack faith or lack dependence on God. And so going into this next year, I'm sort of like the disciples, and I'm saying, Lord, teach me how to pray. So
I guess let me preface by saying that Northwood's church has been and is a blessing and is really in a good place. Things are going well here. I have no sense of disunity. I have no sense of disruption. I have no sense that the church is about to take a turn for anything other than up. Personally, though, 2024 has been very difficult. And I don't have any sense, to be honest, that my circumstances personally are going to get better in 2025. I have no reason to see that getting any better. And so the thing that the Lord has taught me and is teaching me is trust, that He's trustworthy irrespective of circumstances. And that there are many things that I'm not going to understand. There are many things that I'm not going to be able to figure out or logically reason or be able to come to a place to where I can comfort people who are around me. But I can trust God, and I can rest in the fact that He's sovereign. He's good when I don't understand He's good. He's merciful when I don't understand He's merciful. He's gracious when I don't understand He's gracious. He's all of these things, even when it doesn't look like it. And so that's sort of what God's been. Do you believe what you see, or do you believe what you know according to Scripture? I'm consistently having to choose that I'm going to trust that God's word's true. And so that's what God's been teaching me.
God has opened my eyes in a greater way this year to the fact that He is always at work around us, around me, and people's lives. This year, I've been able to see the last of my kids come to faith in Jesus. Just evidence that God is at work in others' lives. I see how my wife is growing in faith and knowledge of the Lord, and grateful for that. And my eyes have been opened in a greater way to just as He is at work in my life, and I sense His presence and His leadership in my life. He does that for people all around me. I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, I would say the lesson that I'm learning this year is to look to find joy in unexpected places. I think in the last year, Stacy and I were kind of happily headed towards empty nest, carefree life, more freedom to be able to do ministry and other things that we want to do. And we have, in the last year, had more care of our grandson than we really planned on. And it's just been so sweet. Like, we have loved it. And so we see God's grace in that. We know that it won't be forever, that we have a limited time of that. So we're trying to really redeem that time. But God's faithful in those things that we thought, boy, we're losing our freedom, but it's really been a great blessing.
With my sabbatical this year, I really wanted to just focus basically on the gospel, which is this year, my Bible study, my devotional process has just been the Gospels, reading through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And I am a intentionally slow reader. I'm more about qualitative than quantitative when it comes to my devotional life. And I'm cool with that. But just spent a lot of time during sabbatical just processing the gospel. I have the tendency to be a very works-driven person in my faith life, that I tend to view my worth as what I accomplish and what I do. And that's not where the Father has me. And so I've just been trying to grow in grace and read a book along with what I've been doing in Scripture, a gospel primer by Milton Vincent. And he has a summary of the gospel there. And part of the summary of the gospel that he has there is, on my best days, I don't deserve God's love. And on my worst days, God still loves me. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of been my thing that I use to fight different thoughts or lawfulness that I have in my head. So that's been helpful. Bobby, what do you see for Northwoods in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, there's things you think that's going to happen, and who knows, right? I mean, I think 2025 is going to be a historic year. Every week, as people pull onto the parking lot, you're going to see some form of a building happening. There's potential that at the end of 2025, we could be in that building. If not, we're going to be close to it. Mm-hmm. This is a big year when it comes to that. But whether or not we're in a building or not in a building, what I am confident of is that God is at work no matter what room we're worshiping in. Mm-hmm. And what my expectation is that we're going to continue to plug along and giving the gospel away and seeing disciples made, seeing missions endeavors spread, Zach and Courtney moving forward and being someone who's sent out of Northwoods. I mean, there's a lot of things that are in process that are very encouraging. A counseling center getting off the ground from here at Northwoods. I mean, there's just a lot of really positive things that are going to begin happening here at Northwoods over the next few months that we're able to see that I think should easily be celebrated, while at the same time a new building's going up. That whole building's entire process and purpose is for us to just make disciples in a greater way. There's nothing more to it than that. So all that is really utilitarian. It's for us to use that to get the mission done.
Awesome. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody, and glad you tuned in for a while. And I will give you a point of what's coming up, as we've got the 7 Churches of Revelation as our next series. And so that's going to be super fun. We've already recorded some of that, and it's pretty cool.
Yep.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks for tuning in to the Northwoods Church Matters Podcast. If you'd like to find out more about Northwoods Church, you can visit us at our website, www.northwoodschurch.org. Again, that's www.northwoodschurch.org.